Alright. Yeah, like I've seen like the disc for some reason it keeps putting the... It doesn't actually try to install it now, but it gives you the option to copy it. But it gives you like the PS4 version, like kind of like a placeholder, so should you decide to install it.
Yeah, it just like randomly just shows up. That's all, yeah, it just appeared on the left and I clicked it and I thought it was like the PS5 version was the first one.
More water. That's exactly where we left off.
And he's still sleeping there. So I'll probably just leave him there until she gets back and then I'll take him out.
Yeah, I guess she wanted to go visit by herself with this car since... She said she was going to go get the frittata food for you.
Yeah, she got it. Like, she went there first to give me the food and then she went with the rest over there.
There's still the last piece here you wanted of the chocolate cake.
Yeah, he's a big lady. So I'll wait a little bit.
Dun, 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 dun. I shouldn't be eating chocolate and have all this food right next to me. Oh man, that's I keep forgetting to take. Yeah, Mr. Garadeb's room since the missus is in jail for what happened. Oh, she should have been in jail for all the fucking time she fucking burned his ass. Yeah, that's assault. This thing I'm portraying on an enormous cannon-shaped clothes horse. Look. No, Mr. Narrow. That's a real cannon. Yeah, we found out last time. I knew that. I was just testing you. Piece of history, that is. Seen plenty of action in the battlefield, I can tell you. Now, the old girl and I are just enjoying the peace and quiet of retirement together. And of course, she'll be coming around handy if the enemy decided to launch an attack again. Is there war going on that I don't know about? Oh! A copy of Rand's magazine. You already know, Suzato, we did check them last time. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes is being read all over London. Isn't it wonderful? Actually, one asks myself if a singular detective could really exist. Such a singular. But I have met the chap, and it's undeniable. He most certainly is singular. Singularly dangerous. We can't deny that. That's the general public. That's the genuine public opinion for you, Mrs. Otto. Perhaps it could be related to in the stories, reflected in the stories. Make no mistake, Mr. Naru. I intend to snuff out all that sort of public opinion we just heard of, personally. Alright, so snuff him out. Murder him with his cannon. I'm starting to see where Mr. Sholmes' untainted reputation comes from now. Uniform. That's your military uniform, isn't it, Mr. Garrett? Oh, ceremonial garb, yes. Been hanging on the wall ever since my retirement bash. Now I'm active service now, you know. Doesn't mean much to me anymore. You can have the old thing if you wanted it. Well, it might suit Lord Van Zeeks, perhaps. An overly ostentatious outfit like this could just be what he needs. Very tactful, Miss Suzato. Very tactful indeed. Live mortar rounds. Ah yes, those Norse mortar shells are quite something, seeing them up close, isn't it? Didn't you say something about firing them into the barracks, Mr. Garrett? Ah, you remember, do you? A little mishap that occurred in training one day. What are you doing firing your own men? The captain bellowed at me. No, I'm not surprised. A little mishap doesn't really do it justice, does it? Well, one of these little incidents is one's a hot-headed young private. But I should put some evidence that resulted from one of my little mishaps on display. Oh, does the great lawyer, like a great detective, want to exhibit some trophies of his finest moments? Mocking me. His Medal of something. Good to see Mr. Garrett's Medal of Honor still proudly displayed on the wall. The inscription reads for distinguished participation, if I remember. Yes, I remember, because I remember thinking even I might stand a chance of picking up honors like that. Wouldn't know it if you look. Wouldn't know it to look at me, perhaps. But in my devil-may-care days, you know? Devil-may-care? What do you get up to? Well, and all in the past, of course. Best left there. Best now? I want to know now. Yeah, that shit's still burnt from last time. The Lion. Very dashing uniform there, Mr. Garrett. Ah, the portrait band. Ah, that old portrait, eh? Drawn by an art student who used to rent the room downstairs. Oh, you look so wonderfully young and courageous and strong. It's a big smile. Well, yeah, so chap presented it to me one day and asked if I'd let me off a month's rent in return. Oh, I see. So you did, presumably? I probably well did not. So you stole it? Oh. Portrait is a portrait, but rent is rent. Eh? Yeah, it's still probably on the... They're probably on the wall. And hide the burn. We know what that screen is hiding now. The aftermath of the fiery altercation the other day. Huh. I'll suppose I'll be able to clear up this mess up for some time now. Oh dear, this must be a very difficult situation for you. I'd say. People talked about twists of fate and whatnot. But this is a twist and a half, a rotten show all around. It's clearly struggling with everything that's happened. And a structural damage here. That's an impressive collection of cakes, a fancy silver cake stand there. I feel it was so much full of cakes when we first investigated here as well.
Yes, quite right. Haven't touched it since. Haven't done much of it at all really since it happened. Time's rather stood still for me, you know? Oh. Time has stood still now. That's an interesting phrase. Happy to use that excuse when the next supposed to be tidying up my office. You could just tidy up, Mr. Naruhodo. And the battle damage. These shells look like they've been completely torn apart by a wild beast. Huh. Reminds me of the Battle of my wand. Don't you know? The experience of a seasoned veteran. Enemy had us surrounded on all sides. Really thought we were done for, the whole Bali company. We were taking a real pounding from the cannons, so all we could do was run for our lives. Oh, I thought the story was going to be different direction, actually. Well, the whole experience taught me one thing I can't tell you. When you're done for, you're really done for. That's not what a lawyer often finds himself under fire and wants to hear. And these special windows. Good view over there from the wintry east end up from here. It's an impressively gray scene. There's really nothing comparable in Japan. Down below, Briar Road, partially blanketed in snow. In the pavement where the poor Miss Green was struck in the back with that knife. Think about it, this is the only room in this building that actually has a window to the outside world. Sometimes Great Britain really does seem like a strange land, doesn't it? Suppose all foreign cultures seem strange at first. Imagine how Englishmen would feel arriving in Japan and seeing the Chongmaj top knot. Well, that's a good point. It looks fucking ugly too. It really does. Alright. Talk to this fucker. Morning's incident. Well, that must have been a real shock for you this morning. Here that you discover what had happened. Oh, well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail. But at 5:30 this morning he stood and lit the gas. So I went down there and knocked on his door, but no bally answer. And that's when you broke into his room by kicking down the door? By, the other Japanese guy doing it for you? Well, I'll call on that rum-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, of course. Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have just overslept a half hour. It's very true, Mr. Naruhodo. If 30 minutes oversleeping warrants such behavior, I have to kick your door down every morning. Well, better not be safe as sorry and all that. And don't you have the fucking key? You're the fucking landlord. Is it just me, or is he avoiding their gaze just now all of a sudden? Except that it was a sorry situation indeed that you found far side of that door. Mr. Shamspear. I think his name is Mr. Shamspear, I believe. Is that right? Yes, William Shamspear. Took the ground floor room 3 months ago now. And how would you describe him? In a word, destitute. Destitute? Well, let's face it. The only redeeming feature in that room is the cheap rent. Anyone wanting to live in a place like that is either broke or has a bally screw loose. It's hard to choose which category of society I will fall into. Both. Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude. But it's true, though. He was doing research as well. Research? Into what? Shakespeare, of course. Shakespeare. Heard a few plays of the old bard myself, Romeo and Hamlet and all that. Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. He is known as Sao in Japanese, you know, for so many of his works have already been translated. Sao. It seems incredible that Shakespeare is shortened to Sao, though. Someone was too heavy-handed there. There are a lot of costumes in the victim's room, actually, weren't there? Of course, Mr. Natsume is a scholar of English literature as well. Imagine he and Shakespeare would have much in common. Shakespeare's interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder. Let's hope it's not that. Headlines. Mr. Naruhodo. Really? How rude. So about yesterday's events. So after Miss Nasuma's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? You don't see any strange between then and this morning? Well, no, it must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily, as I remember, and it was completely dark already. It fell Dr. Chapel's on at the time. So you have noticed that there was no light on it, no light from his room or something, I suppose. Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire here. After 8 before Shakespeare got back. The chapel's up past 1 in the morning. I'll have you know. Suppose he met his end sometime after that. He was asleep by then, so I'm rather... I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark there. Well, thank you. That was very illuminating. Is everything alright, Mrs. Otto? Well, I was just thinking a little strange, that's all. Mr. Garrett, you were up here in your room all evening, if that's understood, correct? Not a big fan of stairs with this blasted light. Then, how is it that you seem to know? Precise moments of your tenants on the ground floor, I mean. Movements. Ah! Right in the weak spot. It's a very good point. Can't imagine that you could hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants? Is that it? Oh, I say, I know what you're thinking, and it's bally outrageous. I'm ex-military, didn't you know? I'm going around spying on my tenants. Why would I? I only steal their money. Then how did you know, Mr. Garrett, then? It's the gas woman. The gas tells me anything. The gas? Speaking gas. He farted it, so he knew he was home. Nah. What on earth do you mean, sir? How can a gas tell you anything, let alone everything? Well, as you're probably aware, our gas is applied in the building by pipes. Yeah, so more or less worked that out. Every room in this building is connected by a singular pipe in the main gas main outside. Gas company supplies gas to properties via the main. Yes, I understand that too. Let me see if I can explain. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps up here. What do you suppose would happen? Well, obviously the room would get brighter. Exactly. But all at the same time, the lights in the other rooms of the house would dim for a moment. Really? What? Nani? They dim? Why? Perhaps it's because when you light the gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual. That reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for the other lamps that are connected to it. May I explain why the other lamps dim momentarily, mind it? Yes, of course, because everything's connected to a single supply pipe. Is that supposed to happen? No, it sounds rather undesirable. Jolly good point. Jolly good point. Fact is, the gas company pipes in these parts are really hopeless. Long worn out. Barely got any gas in them to start with. Opposite is also true, of course. Station lamps up here and they go brighter for the rest of the house. Ah, right, I see. So watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine whatever's happening elsewhere. You've got it. Oh, of course, because when people come back home in the evening before they go to sleep at night, what they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps from fires. Clever. We don't see that smile of hers often enough. In point of fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above it use slightly different amounts of gas. Watching lights up here closely, I can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house. Gosh, that's fascinating, Mr. Garrett. Absolutely fascinating. Oh well, nothing to it really. And then I can't see that it's gonna help us in this case either. Well, I'd like to know. So why Mr. Garrett is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place? I feel like there's more to it than idle curiosity. Well, we've done as much investigating here as we can, I think. Gotta go to the president to speak with Natsume again. Oh, good idea. That's where we need to go, so we're gonna go back to the hospital. Yeah, do not let her to run around the hospital and do not feed. We can't go to Shamsi anymore because Scotland Yard is investigating. You know, when there is a worse for wear, English rooms are so splendidly colorful. Stuff like the houses where Mr. Natsume has his lodgings, occupied by landlord Mr. Garrett and his wife. The window below looks over Briar Road. I'll go in order. His office. It's empty. Perhaps we should put a spade away somewhere. That's not a spade, now, Rodo-san, it's a shovel. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. No, spades are for digging. As for scooping up loose material, it's a shovel. Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? You're so right, Naruto-san. What's a quarrel with such trifles? On reflection, I don't think I'll leave the spade where it is. Meh. Yes, I think it's for the best. You need a shovel when it comes to working in the garden. Nothing about the ladder. Why is everything gone? There's another room behind that door. Yes, it's my bedroom, Mr. Naruto-san, as you well know. Shall I help you unpack your things? That's very kind, but no thank you. Your luggage looks very heavy. Sure, I can't help you move it. It's very kind, but really, no, thank you. A young man's private chambers is a place of bittersweet secrets, you know. In other words, she's playing with herself in there. The only secret I have to tell you is 5 yen banknote hidden on the backside of my Irma doll. And the fish tank. Oh, this is before they actually set up the office. Those tanks are for keeping sea creatures. They call aquariums, and they're all the rage in London at one time apparently. Yes, the English are so clever, clean up ideas to have ocean life and display at home. It means you always have an emergency midnight feast on hand too. I'm not sure that's really the idea. It's not wrong though. That's right. Show them sweet. Oh, there's Iris typing. Alright, this is where you note the ideas that's in the Iris. So what's on the blackboard today? Buck up, Bruno. What is this? Not only is this. I'm just playing with ideas of the title of the next month's installment. I'm just playing that. Another idea I had was the barrel coronet. The term which one to use. Yeah, what do you think, Bruno? Anything but Bucket Bruno, obviously. I suppose you're right. Tell you what, I'll surprise you with it. You have to wait till next month and see. So many sleepless nights. The enormous machine takes an entire desk, doesn't it? Really very imposing. Ah, Hurley's great analytoscope. Yes, he can analyze anything with it, you know. But I've never seen anyone actually using it. Well, it's his invention, so I don't know how to operate it. Why don't you get to analyzing it on your own then? Oh, Bruno, you're razor sharp today, aren't you? Yeah? She's smart enough, she can analyze it. All sorts of shells here. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. All heaped up so high I can feel that the whole lot is going to go topple at any moment. It looks as though it might topple, yet it doesn't. The epitome of Mr. Sholm's brilliance. I don't get it. As it happens, I'm quite practiced when it comes to stacking shells myself. Just the other day, the shelf in my office finally gave way under the strain, though. It looks as though it might beat and topple, doesn't it? The epitome of your disarray. Well, you don't get it. Mr. Ivarius. This is Mr. Sholm's famous violin that he found being sold for a song in a pawnbroker. They call it a shoddy something. Oh yes, that wonderful instrument features the adventures of Herlock Sholm. It's a world famous Stradivarius. What? Stradivarius, Mr. Naruhodo. Strategy, Stragvicor. Are you even trying now? We'll come back to this another time, I think. I do like fireplaces, and this is one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Although I do in French Japanese called tatsu, putting your legs on a warm blanketed bed for soul comfort. Do be careful, Mr. Emerald. Don't mistakenly put your feet in the fire, would you? You'll suffer terrible burns, you know. I'll worry sometimes how Suzato-san sees me. I'm curious how this enormous metal chest is being used as a coffee table. Even more curious to think Iris' father's note to Mr. Sholmes' cases are all inside it. You mustn't look in there, Runa. These notes are a secret between Daddy and me. And Mr. Sholmes isn't somehow in on that secret. Really tends to forget, you see, and as soon as he solved the case, in fact. Once when on my manuscript, he had a terrible argument about it. We had a terrible argument about it. Never have I solved such a case, he said. It was absolutely adamant. Since I wonder if he's from another planet, don't you? Among all these memories of Mr. Sholmes' past cases. You know, Miss Susano's eyes spark up every time she lays eyes on them. But yours don't, do they, Runa? Well, I have read that her mentions Sherlock Sholmes now by order of Miss Susato. But the trouble is, having seen the real thing in action, somehow the stories don't quite ring true for me. Exactly. Well, he does solve the cases in the end. Suppose so. Perhaps there's more than a great detective that meets the eye. So it strikes me how pretty and neatly arranged his tea set is. It's my favorite one, in fact. I think it's high time for afternoon tea. Wait there, I'll fetch some special blend and prepare for today. Oh, Iris, you do love your tea, don't you? She looks so happy at the prospect. And after you've drunk it, I'll collect some experimental data, if that's alright. What does she have to... What is it she's having me drink? The explosive shelf. It's a charming little white shelf, and all full of charming little bottles, too. Oh yes, but don't touch any of those. They might explode. Charming little shelf full of charming little bottles full of charming ingredients. You know, Hurley mistakenly drank one of them the other day. Yeah, of course. What? And how? I think he was lucky, though. It hasn't exploded yet. Chemistry can be a very hazardous occupation. So you show them that's a hazardous occupation, if you ask me. If I remember correctly, a large and imposing lump of iron is called a typewriter. To think that every single one of those adventures of Mr. Sherlock Sholmes blossomed from this very machine. Ah, it's such a dreamy thought. I had to go at it the other day. Metal bars move when you hit the keys, and I got all tangled up somehow and made Iris angry. Mr. Naruhodo, you ruined my dreamy thoughts. Please don't do that again. Now it made Suzato-san angry as well. Iris. That's incredible concentration, that is. I find it quite remarkable how she can focus on so many different things at once. Perhaps I should try drinking more herbal tea. The blend third from the right would be good for you, Bruno. Iris? This girl's nested for great things, I'm sure. Alright, back to the hospital. Very tired. I think perhaps we should leave me for a while. There's some bottle I'm supposed to examine. Fucking giant rat just chilling there. This is the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Do not feed. Is this place a zoo? I'm seeing an almost identical sign in a local park. For the pigeons, yes. This is a person. Poor one, I hope she hasn't read this. Ah, this looks like a treatment note for whoever is occupying this bed. Let's see. Do not permit to run around the hospital. Patient doesn't seem to be here at the moment, so... He or she's probably running around the hospital then. Oh dear, it's how worrying. What's worrying is how I haven't discharged the patient yet. Well, we could peek at her bag now. She's not here. She had a bag of Miss Green's personal belongings. She would have been brought directly here after she was stabbed in the pavement, though. A friend or family member probably brought her some things for her. Alright then, let's see what's inside. She closed one down and... No, Mr. Naruto, you must scrutinize a young maiden's personal belongings. Well, she's not young. We don't know if she's a maiden. Yeah, maiden might have chocolates, or biscuits, or caramel. Alright, time for the prison. And the prison. See him again. 21st February, local prison. Cell 9. And it's always the same cell. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Natsume, have the police finished questioning you right now? Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire? Oh, yes. Where is he? Tell me. Is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me? Let me guess, you're talking about Mr. Sholmes. He actually calls himself the Great Detective, Mr. Naruhodo. Not a ghost. But diabolical deductions are not... They're not of this world. They've left me. Cursed, I tell you. Well, that sort of hurts. Where were credits drew, Mr. Naruhodo? You were heavily involved in that deduction, too. Yes, moving on. Yes, some wonderful news. Oh? The victim that we thought was dead has come back to life again. Now, this is the absolute worst case. You can only be tried for attempted murder. That's great, isn't it, Mr. Natsume? It's terrible! Oh! Stuck in the cell, suffering for some silly wrong end of a stick. You didn't do it, did you? Confess, you're a killer. Why the mustache? Constant questions. I'm sorry to hear that. Ah, that stuff is shyster. Make up your mind. Are you dead or alive? If you were to come back to life, why bother dying? Wickedly, wishy-washy, William! Well, it seems that Mr. Shamspeare was never actually dead in the first place. Ah, yes, that might make some sense. I am pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was much fun. I'll be sad to think it was our last. Oh. Oops. Mr. Natsume, does that mean you did see the victim last night? You met Mr. Shamspeare, didn't you? Not saying another word. The man I have a lawyer present. You do have a lawyer present. Who do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsume, we need to hear your side of the story. Why am I cursed like this? Alright, so let's see our trophies. So he was bottom before it falls, so we have to come back for that. Wait a minute, why am I not being tracked? There we go. So, green bottle shows question about who might have something that belonged to the convict. Who might have something that belonged to the convict? So we haven't gotten there yet. There you spade and shovel, ladders. I've shown this to you before, Mr. Natsume. Oh yes, the sweet, sweet aroma of that beloved homeland. It shows that the wearer is a defense lawyer. It means nothing written, of course, but I still wear it. I know exactly how you feel. Local student, Mr. Naruto Esquire. My Harakami belly band. I don't feel right about it. Your Harakami belly band? It's a perfect for the cold winters, English winters. It's the thing to keep your tummy warm. Yes, I see the link. Almost. Mr. Natsume, about this receipt. It occurs to me now. That was those confined bulls that saw me arrested in the first time, too. Oh yeah, I suppose that's true. Spent my precious pennies on them. That's the thanks I get. Not even know when I'll read them. No, not when. If. I may very well have ate them too much to even open their covers. I don't think we can blame the books for everything that's happened, Mr. Natsume. Mr. Natsume, there's nothing much, but it's been too long since I've been offered a present from the rightful humble educator of our homeland. What? Nani? You're too kind, I accept it gladly. Sorry, but I wasn't trying to give it to you, actually. Bar of soap. Mr. Natsume, what do you know about this? Ah, there it is. That latter lowlife that took my neighbor's life and sent me sliding into That's for the spare. Slippery, slicky, psychotic, saboteur. You've really gone off so bad, haven't you? Absolutely. Made up my mind. If someone gives me soap as a present, it's friendship finished firmly forever. I don't know. We can blame the soap for everything that's happened, Mr. Natsume. She doesn't want to blame anything or anyone. Natsume, much but present. I think I'm gonna take a nap. I'm tired. I'm fortunately not gonna get to play much today. Mr. Natsume, it's not much, but I want to fucking sleep. I think I'm gonna stop for a little, quite a bit early today. Let's see if Paris is on and I could rate him. So thank you all for coming in, hanging out, lurking. Hope you have a good night. It's quite a bit early for me. Like, we'll see if we get tomorrow, depending how tired and busy I am. And if the things with my dad get situated. Oh, I never did remove this. Not like it matters now. Don't forget to check out my socials so you can stay up to date on stream changes and read the random stuff I post. Harris is still on.